Hello YouTube, my name's General Vance, this is Dota 2 and this is an introduction to Kunkka. Kunkka is a strength semi-carry. He can be played as a hard carry, but his damage is not very reliable. It's all based around sort of hitting a big combo. He's very strong in team fights, and the cooldown on his spells is also very low. So I'm playing him as a solo mid in this case. This is because basically Kunkka's scaling damage skill scales early. It's tidebringer. It basically gives him a cleave effect that procs every 13 to 4 seconds, that's scaling, as well as a damage bonus of 15 scaling up to 60. And it cleaves in a much bigger area than it actually shows on the tool there. You can see it says 500. In practice, it definitely feels and often hits a lot further away than that AoE. So the reason you can play Kunkka as a mid, and in fact I would advise you play Kunkka as a mid, is generally he has to get farm. He has to at least be a core hero. He's definitely not a support hero of any sort. He's definitely very hard core hero. He snowballs very fast, but he pushes his lane naturally through the use of tidebringer, because every 13 seconds at level 1 you're doing your right clicks plus 15 damage to the entire creep wave, and hopefully anybody in the creep wave, around the creep wave as well. So I'm just going to be doing a little bit of blocking there, put on the last hits and denies. Now, bear in mind guys, this game was played at 5 o'clock in the morning after about 36 hours of not sleeping. I am against a Prophet solo mid, so I'm pretty happy with this matchup. I'll definitely fight that matchup any day. Now, like I said, it was 5 in the morning when I played this. My last hitting is not ideal, but I still do really well this game and pretty much show off exactly how Kunkka is meant to be played. And yeah, 5 in the morning. As this game goes on longer guys, don't worry, I start playing better. My sort of first minute in the lane is sort of me like what the helling and like swearing and stuff to myself over why I'm trying to play Dota at this time, but you can see how I've already started to push the lane here. It also gives very strong harass. Now, next skill is Torrent. It's basically a small AoE skill you can use in a very long range around you. It takes 1.6 seconds to actually come up. It basically throws them up in the air and does 120 to 300 damage scaling. It's magical damage. It also stuns them for 1.53 seconds, as well as applies a slow to them from 1 to 4 seconds scaling. So its damage doesn't scale particularly well given that it's a skill shot, but it's very satisfying. It's also a very nice AoE skill. I'll show you it in a little bit. I picked up a bottle now, so about a 1 minute sort of 20 bottle pickup. And I'm immediately going to go and check for rune. It looks like everybody's doing crazy things bottom. We had a random tri-lane, I believe, or a jungler, and yeah, it looks like, okay, no, we had a random tri-lane. So, had a random tri-lane. They're doing crazy things. I have no idea what they're doing, but looks like, I honestly, this is craziness. The Shadow Demon's dead. Shadow Demon was killed by the Dire. So now because of this, all this early fighting, Prophet actually left the lane, and this gives me basically a little bit more free time to get golden XP without any fear of contesting. Now, Kunkka's very strong in the early laning stage, as long as you can get up to just sort of right click the creeps. And the way that you want to do it is whenever a creep is low enough for you to kill it, that's when you want to hit your tidebringer on it, because it will hit that creep as well as everybody else in the area, do nice big damage, and basically ensure you are last hit, because you're getting bonus damage from the tidebringer, as well as the fact that Kunkka already has very strong right click damage. The problem with Kunkka, and the reason he's not a very viable one position carry on the safe lane, he's not very viable with supports and stuff, is his agility gain is very low, his int gain is pretty crap too, and starts very low, and his strength is very high. So he hits very hard when he hits, but hitting everything with him is unreliable at best. So I picked up a regen rune as well, and you can see there, that's me cleaving on everything in the area, trying to get myself some good last hits and such. And I believe at this point someone was complaining, they were like, oh, You're not a good enough mid, you're doing really crap. The Prophet's killing everybody. Well, I've got a level on the Prophet, and I'm currently getting quite farmed. So if you're dying to a level 4 Prophet 3.5 minutes in, you're kind of doing not great yourself. But, I mean, I shouldn't be mean. This game, I actually really enjoyed this game. Played this with total random people at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was actually really, really fun to play. Like, after a few minutes I got in a really good mood, so I just sort of didn't give a crap. Now, Boot's choice that you want to go for on Kunkka is almost always, apart from in very specific circumstances, is phase boots. Now, the reason you want to go for phase boots is because attack speed doesn't really matter. The entire idea on Kunkka is to hit a nice big tidebringer, hit a nice big torrent, and hit a nice big ghost ship. He's also useful in 1v1 situations, chasing people down with X marks the spot, but I'll talk about that later when I actually skill it up. Get a nice deny there. Now I do miss that creep because I hit slightly too early with the tidebringer, and I definitely think it's worth maxing out tidebringer first. After that, you want to maybe get 2 levels of torrent and 2 levels of X mark the spot, unless you're a bit more confident with torrent. If you're more confident using torrent, you can max that out and then not get any levels of X marks the spot until everything else is maxed out. This will mean that you'll have higher damage, but it will be a lot less reliable, which, given that Kunkka is already a hero that's not reliable at all, is obviously, you know, pretty damn dangerous. Now, there isn't a rune up currently, so I have pushed the wave out. Now, you saw me throw my ultimate then. I was hoping that the Prophet was going to go in for last hit. He obviously saw I was doing that. I was hoping that he was in like a camera like here, and then was going for a last hit, and then my ghost ship would come out, hit him for a big amount of damage. Now, ghost ship is Kunkka's ultimate. It is a big aim thing that comes from behind him. You aim it at a point, and then the ghost ship flies in from behind Kunkka. Always from behind, remember that. It doesn't come from any other side. If you think it does, you're wrong. When it lands, it does 300 damage, as well as a 1.4 second stun when it breaks. Anyone can pass through Kunkka's ghost ship without taking any damage, but when it breaks, it does the damage. Now, what it also does, it's also I'd like to point out, Kunkka's ghost ship is on a ridiculously low cooldown of only 60 seconds at level 1, scaling down to 40 seconds, and it scales up to 500 damage, so Kunkka can hit really hard in an AoE. Now, the most fantastic thing about ghost ship, though, is Kunkka, or Coco's rum. I can't remember what it's actually currently called. It's been changed a few times because Kunkka used to be called Coco or something. I don't know exactly, but either way, I'm coming for a gank bottom because they asked for it, basically. And I have all my skills up as well. So I'm going to throw out it looks like I am going for a build. So I'm going to throw out everything I have there. I don't quite manage to hit the torrent on that guy, but we do pick off the axe, and they're trying to kill me here, but I eat my way through the trees with a tango, walk off. I'm going to run back around, bottle up, and then maybe come back into the fight. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because everything I have is almost up. The only thing I don't have is ghost ship, which I used in that last fight, so you got me a kill. Now, one thing I'll talk about Coco's room in a second. I'm going to try and throw a torrent here. It's not going to hit. Now, I thought maybe he was going to make it out, so I threw X marks the spot on him. Now, the way X marks the spot does is it basically marks the target and marks where they were standing, and then after you've cast it on them, obviously you can cast it on friends or foes, which means you can do some very, very interesting stuff with it. And then after scaling from 1 to 4 seconds, or you can activate it beforehand by pressing E yourself, they will immediately go back to the place they were. So the way Kunkka has a really, really strong, basically predictable, guaranteed way of getting everybody is to have 2 levels of X marks the spot. So what you do is you have to be in range for X marks the spot, you use an X on them, immediately follow it with a torrent pretty much underneath it, often a little bit further back so that they're going to run into it, because the delay isn't quite, I mean, the delay on torrent is 1.6, the delay on X mark at level 2 is 2 seconds, so you're not going to quite get them. And then immediately follow it with a ghost ship. The way, ideally, that means it will work, is they'll go immediately come back to, so say they get X'd here, they run away, you've torrented here, then they're pulled back, they're torrented immediately in the air, and then Ghost Ship hits them. You run in, and you hit them with one of your big old tidebringer hits, cleave everybody, and do the deeps. Did try to throw off a Ghost Ship there, but it wasn't terribly effective. This guy hooks me in, so I know he's, not hooks me in, cogs me in, so I know he's stuck in there, and my double damage rune means that I actually pick up both of them. Anti-Mage was coming back into the fight, and I kicked up both of them. Now, whenever Clockwork basically cogs, I'm pretty much almost always going to throw a torrent on top of the cogs. In that situation, I was underneath it as well, because I know that he's almost always not going to try and run out of there. Now, it's quite common to open up the back of the cogs and then run out of there, but it's not like an always thing. So, either way, I pick up the kill there. I'm now 4-0 in 9 minutes, level 9 as well. Prophet's actually behind me. He went for a Hand of Midas rush. I don't personally think it's worth doing that if you're going to be playing a solo mid Prophet. If you're going to be playing a solo mid Prophet, you should go for a more of an early game to orientated build. It means that you can just gank more and such. And he tried to gank early because so much fighting was happening early, but it ended up not really working out. And I'm trying to go bottom for a rune here. I know it's not here, so I'm going to run all the way top and get myself an invisibility rune. And that's going to mean that I can get myself in position for my whole combination of skills. Now, Kunkka basically is a very, very strong... I don't actually manage to get the invis rune because of freaking Clockwork. Screw you, Clockwork. Like, seriously, it's such a douchebag move. I really wanted that invis rune. Would have been really nice. Could have definitely got myself a guaranteed kill with it. Now, Kunkka is not particularly effective in a prolonged fight. He's all very, very burst damage, but he hits like a truck. He's not particularly good as well in if his positioning isn't perfect. So the idea on Kunkka is to get your positioning absolutely right and then hit your entire combo on as many people in the enemy team as you can and basically win the fight from that. Now, I saw there was a fight going off bottom here, and I'm going to TP in, throw my Ghost Ship as well as Torrent. Not going to actually hit anyone with it, but I hit myself with the Coco's Rum effect. Like I said, I will talk about that at some point. I think we should turn this around. No, actually they're 3, so we're not going to turn this around. We're going to turn this around in a couple seconds, so I've healed myself up a little bit more. Going to run in for a right click. It's going to take me a while to get off. Going to throw my stun there as I held them in place, so I man-fought them, held them in place for a few seconds so that I could get my torrent off, and they weren't able to keep themselves out of it, and I managed to pick up the kill. Now what I did is I also juked this way around the trees. The reason for that is to break line of sight, as well as the fact that they had a Clockwork. So I was very, very low on health, so the Clockwork would obviously expect me to just run straight away. And sadly it looks like Juggernaut is definitely dead here. This Clockwork should have no problem just hitting him. Yeah, Juggernaut, you dived way too far. Everybody's diving way, way too far. Windrunner's gonna die as well now because of this. So, please don't do that, guys. It's such a good skill to steal on Rubik. Power Shot does so much damage. 360 damage nuke. It's amazing for only 120 mana. I only do 300 damage for 120 mana, So, now, I was trying to talk about this before. Ghost Ship basically gives you anyone that it passes through on your team are doused in Kunkka's Rum. Now what this means is they receive bonus movement speed of 10%, not a huge amount, but you know, noticeable. It also gives them a delayed reaction to damage. Now the idea is that about 10% of damage hit on you during that time is nullified, does nothing to you, and immediately that means that the damage is stored up, and after about 8 seconds, after the buff wears off, all that damage is then taken again on the hero. Now what this means is for about 8 seconds, you're 10% tankier. Everybody on your team is about 10% tankier. It might be 50 or 10%, I can't really remember honestly. But they're a lot tankier, and as well as that, the damage they take afterwards is non-lethal. So no matter what, you're going to go down to like really low health and then not die. And you can see just how much damage I do. Double damage rune is probably one of the best runes on Kunkka. And this is how my combo works on the axe there. You see I used X marks the spot and then followed up immediately with a torrent. Now because Kunkka is such a positioning based hero, he's also all about doing as much right click damage in one hit as possible. I'm going to go for a shadowblade. You can go for items like now again, whenever anybody does something like this against Kunkka, whenever they force themselves into one place, you can just very, very easily pick them off. So I'm now 6-0-4 at that point, and picked up another kill. I also picked up a magic wand as well, guys, just because magic wands is so cost effective. It's a really, really nice item to have. So I'm going to go for a shadowblade. This means that I can shadowblade, run in, hit everybody with tidebringer, and then hit everybody with ghost ship and torrent. It also means if I get caught out in a fight, I can try and escape. That axe, you do not want to come and fight me, axe. Come and fight me. You really don't. Axe will get crushed by Kunkka. One thing that Kunkka is very, very tanky. He also hits really, really hard. He's not that tanky because obviously his physical armor is dog shit. Because his agility gain is terrible and his starting agility is also awful. Now if I don't want to always use Shadowblade, I can also initiate with the X marks the spot, torrent into ghost ship. Also I can just use ghost ship into torrent. You can use all your skills in a different variety of ways. If I do that, I want to then immediately Shadowblade, and I messed up my torrent then. If I'd have hit the torrent on that guy, I think we would have killed the anti-mage maybe. I don't know if we would have had the damage to do so. And that guy said tryhards then. I don't know why. It looks like they dived him under his tower or something. It's a stupid thing to call people as an offense. It doesn't really work. It's Dota. Everyone's a tryhard really. And if you're not tryharding, you're not playing Dota right. That's like my motto. If you're not tryharding, you're not playing right. So this anti-mage has been really, really caught out. So I'm going to use my X mark on him, pick off the thing on it. Now, you saw what I did after that. I actually hit the creeps after, and I still did the damage to anti-mage. Now, this is an interesting way that cleave basically interacts in Dota 2. Cleave damage, or cleaved damage, is not affected by armor. So if I hit a creep, and it then splashes on anti-mage, despite the fact that anti-mage has a much higher armor value, and creeps only have like 2 armor, anti-mage at this point is running with 7. Despite this, the creep will actually take less damage. The creep that I hit will actually take less damage than anti-mage will, because the cleave damage will hit him in an area around the guy that I hit, and will not be reduced by armor, because cleave is weird like that. It doesn't really make much sense, I know guys, but it's true. And here I'm just trying to get down this guy, and he's pretty dead. We secured that kill pretty hard. Looks like they've been warding in our jungles. Is good job from them. God, wards are good. We haven't actually got very good ward vision. That's one issue that we do have this game. Luckily I've been urn charged up, but one thing that Kunkka does suffer from is he does suffer from pretty bad mana problems. That's why I really like him mid. It means you can pick up a bottle if you get rune control, which is very easy to do with tidebringer. It means that you won't have as much mana issues, and pretty much every time you get a good rune you can go off and gank. Good runes on Kunkka are like DD, haste, invis, all those sort of positional based ones, as well as damage based ones. Illusion sucks ass. Illusions don't do anything for Kunkka, because the way tidebringer works is it doesn't proc. Or it procs, but it does nothing. It's kind of stupid interaction, I know, but that's true. And again, you see I'm trying to harass this anti-mage out of the lane using tidebringer. It's really, really strong. Every time that the anti-mage goes to try and trade with me, I just try hit him with a tidebringer hit, and that hits him really, really hard. Next item I'm going to be going for is drums. The reason I go for drums on Kunkka is just basically it makes me move even faster. This is very, very important for positioning. Also improves my tankiness. This is very, very good because it means that I can get in, hit hard, and then get the hell out of there. As well as this, it also basically just gives me a bit of attack speed, which is useless. Attack speed does nothing on Kunkka, virtually nothing. And it's not useless, but it's not good. So I'm going to use the boat there basically just to decrease the amount of damage I'm going to take, and you can look how little damage I'm taking. It's taking far less damage than I normally would be. The movement speed actually lasts longer there, and then Where the hell am I? Yeah, I retreated out of the fight, came back in with shadowblade, and then I'm going to chase after this guy here. I can use X, torrent, hit him, and he just explodes in a big gory explosion of axeness. So, nice little kill here from me, and I'm actually 7-0-6. Kind of getting overconfident at this point. It's really, really problematic. As well as it's becoming really obvious that they need to try and shut me down. So, ways that they'll shut me down: get a gem, chain stun me. That's pretty much it. Like, that will guaranteed kill me. Ghost ship does a lot, but if they can hold me in position for a while, I don't know what this is. Like, I don't know. People are just trying to annoy the enemy team now at this point, I guess. It's not a good idea, but these guys were quite nice to me, certainly, so I'll just leave them to it. They're allowed to. Or they were allowed to. This isn't live in any way. But nobody's getting a particularly large amount of last hits in this game. Again, this is Kunkka's a fighting hero. He's definitely not a last hitting hero. And again, every time the Nature's Prophet tries to get out using that, I can just pick up the kill there. It's very, very easy to know where a Nature's Prophet is because they almost always put themselves in their trees like that. And then I can just throw a torrent on it. It takes longer for him to teleport than it does for me to hit torrent, so he'll just instantly die. And it's a really bad, it's a really nice little counter, kind of a problematic thing for him. I mean, I was gonna say it's a mistake, but I can't like honestly say like there's nothing, like there's things he can do about it. He could tree in one place, then run to another and TP, but that's quite risky. And at this point, I'm just trying to push down a tower here. Now, item builds on Kunkka are actually very, very varied at the moment. It's kind of like there's sort of 3 items that work really, really well on Kunkka as sort of scaling mid-game damage items, which is what you want. You can go for a shadowblade, you can go for a Daedalus to get yourself a crit, so you can crit with tidebringer, hit everybody on the team with a crit, does tons of damage, but very luck based sometimes. Or you can go for what I like really stacking on Kunkka, and what I think is really, really effective, you can pick up a battlefury. Now this might sound a bit crazy, because you think, oh, well, why do you need more cleave? Like, more cleave is good, basically. It gives you plus 65 damage, it gives you mana and health regen, 2 nice little things to pick up on Kunkka pretty much all the time. It's not a pushing item, but it's very, very strong for Kunkka in a team fight. Now I'm going to just try and get that anti-mage there, but I got the delay slightly wrong, so I don't manage to pick him off, but anytime he gets a little bit overconfident like that, I can at least try and push him out the lane by X marking and then torrenting. So you can see there how basically torrent X mark with 2 levels isn't entirely reliable. People say it is, it's not. There is a slight delay for when you cast a torrent, and you can definitely fuck it up, and it's not like I'm fucking up this lane a lot, you know, like I'm winning. So I'm going to throw boat, torrent, I'm going to throw everything I have here. Nice big AoE, don't take too much damage. They do try and hold me in. They've actually stolen the Juggernaut ulti on the Rubik there. It's really, really, really scary. I'm trying to get out of that fight now. Sadly we do lose that fight, but I took out the axe for it. Not a good trade, to be honest. And it looks like anti-mages quit the game there, so if I remember rightly, he was having connection problems, and they either said not to pause, or we said like to each other, I think, like, are they gonna pause? And we were like, well, whatever. I wasn't bothered. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't give a shit. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't give a shit. So next item that I want to pick up, I'll either pick up a Daedalus to get that sort of big cleave hit on everybody, or I'll pick up a Battlefury. Now, cleave does stack, by the way, so if I hit for 100% cleave currently with Tidebringer, and then I pick up a Battlefury, I will hit 135% cleave, so the target I hit will take my standard right-click damage minus their armor value, and the targets around will take my standard right-click damage plus 35%. Straight, as basically as pure damage, or as cleave damage is what it is. But and that guy is leveling up Dagon now, so he's a crazy tree. You're a crazy tree, man. I'm not a fan of that build. It's not a good idea, and it allowed me to dominate him in lane, so it's obviously not worked too well. have actually gone to the bottom lane here because I saw that it was pushing. Kunkka's very, very good at dealing with pushes. You can see this by the fact that I just killed half a creep wave. I should ideally, though, be going top to go and fight with the rest of my team, and that's what I'm going to go do now. It's like my team is getting a little bit picked off here. It's not ideal. The Juggernaut doesn't start doing really well until later in the game. Kind of unusual. Juggernaut's normally like a pre-40 minute carry. But in this game, you know, and in the last game that you showed with the Elder Titan, he actually hits pretty hard after that point, so quite unusual. With low creep scores like this, like we're having in this game, heroes like Juggernaut and stuff will hit a lot harder in the late game compared to normal, because people have less items. With equal items at sort of 40-50 minutes, Juggernaut should lose to practically every carry, but if you can get yourself an item advantage by the fact that you're very, very able to kill in lane and such, you can definitely do pretty well. So picking up a Perseverance at this point, it's not entirely cost efficient to pick up the Perseverance first, but I was like, screw it, I really wanted the regen. It does still give 10 damage, which is basically rubbish, but what can you do? Clockwork's trying to come to fight me here. I don't know why, it's really crazy from him. And send the Courier with the Shadowblade on it, not the Shadowblade, the Perseverance on it. Pick up that, gives me plus 10 damage, plus 5 HP, and plus 125% mana regen. Nothing particularly fantastic now. Again, they initiate on me, but he initiates on me without really any help. So I'm just going to throw everything I have, basically. And as well as that, I use a DD, and bottle up a little bit, use my Shadowblade, turn around, juke away from the Berserker's Call, hit him again, run back out of the fight, throw my torrent on top of that, and catch them in it, pick up a double kill there. Nice little tidebringer hit, manages to pick them off, and I buy up my broadsword. So I'm now 10, 1 and 8. I did want to get killed, but you know, forgive me guys, I do die. I'm kidding. I'm not like a fantastic player or anything. I'm better than the average player in the player base. That's been shown by my Dota buff profile when that system still worked, where it showed you how good you are on a ladder system. I think it was about 65% of the way up or something was how they put it. So it was better than like 65% of players, which is, you know, that's not bad. I play mostly in high and normal matchmaking, so nothing fantastic. I'm going to throw out my thing there, and I'm also going to throw out my ultimate. You can throw out your ultimate practically all the time to pick off kills like that. It wasn't necessary, but look, in another 30 seconds, pretty much, yeah, another 30 seconds from now, Ghost Ship is back up. So the cooldown on Ghost Ship is insane, guys. The cooldown on all of Kunkka's skills is really, really good. Makes him very, very strong in team fights, but like I said, his damage isn't very reliable because Tidebringer only procs once every 4 seconds. It hits everybody in the team when it does, but if you just hit them with your normal right clicks, you don't really hit that hard. I mean, the Darkseer hits practically as hard, and the Juggernaut hits way harder. Or does he? No, yeah, no, he doesn't. But that's because the Juggernaut doesn't have as much items as I do. If the Juggernaut had the same sort of level of items I did, then he'd probably hit just as hard as well. Trying to get myself out of this fight, use the Shadowblade on myself. I do get earned, but Battle Hunger is pretty much killing me at this point, and I'm pretty sure I was dead, and I turn around and then get hit by a Nature's Prophet ultimate, which wasn't exactly brilliant. So I buy back, pick up a TP scroll, as well as pick up my broadsword from the shop, and I'm going to run in, try and see if there was anyone around that I could kill, but I didn't see anyone, so I just go back to farming. Not the best buyback I've ever made. Not like the other game where I used it to counter a push that was obviously incoming. That was not the best disruption ever, but whatever, we got the kill on that guy. That guy was like 100% dead anyway, so. Yeah, Juggernaut is lagging behind just a little bit on items here. He's picked up a Vlad's and a Desolator. I'm not personally a fan of picking up a Vlad's on carry heroes. I really like the idea of supports picking it up all the time for you and then just sort of following you around. I know it sounds kind of stupid, but Vlad's is definitely a pushing item. So it kind of makes sense, don't worry. I promise. And I do hit really, really hard now. With Tidebringer, I hit for plus 60 damage as well as my normal damage, so you can see just how much damage I do to a creep wave there. And a creep wave has like 580 health, so imagine that's a hero with sort of 1500 health. I'll do about a third of his damage, with a third of his health with a Tidebringer hit, as long as I don't hit him, as long as I hit somebody else in the area. And I'll do a lot more damage with shadowblade as well, and if I get battlefury, I'll do even more damage. So like I said before, Kunkka's really, he's not really an initiator as such, but he's definitely very, very strong in team fights. He's very strong for setting up ready for team fights. And obviously if you ghost ship your entire team and then run in following the ghost ship, that's a great initiation, honestly. It's really, really strong. Now I saw they were chasing the that guy there, but I decided to go on the axe here. It's not really a good idea given that axe is really, really tanky, but I finish off my battlefury, and this is basically going to mean that I can turn around. The anti-mage really doesn't have anything at this point. He actually went vanguard and then into battlefury. Really, really not a good build. I'm going to throw out my ultimate here, just trying to see if anybody would walk into it, but oh well. See how he can hit the splashes on everyone. It does even more damage now. And if either of those give me the opportunity to get close to them, I'm going to run up to the creep, hit him, and kill off the axe then. So that's a really, really good example of how you can basically outplay a couple people, but mostly of how you can use creeps and other units and stuff to get extra kills. I killed the axe by hitting a range creep, and it splashed into the way of him, and I did that on purpose. That was a purposeful thing. It also happened down here very early in the game where I had a double damage rune, killed off the anti-mage who was here by hitting a clockwork or a dark seer, something like, I think it was clockwork. That wasn't meant to happen, but it happened, so I was happy with it. Now, Battle Fury is not exactly an ideal item on Kunkka. It certainly isn't like perfect. What you really want is a really big damage item, but there aren't really that many really big damage items other than crit and MKB. So I pick up Battle Fury. As well as that, it's good because it's not like in any way wasted. I'm almost always going to hit the cleave, obviously, because I mean I hit everybody in team fights. I run in basically and then try and hit somebody. It doesn't really matter who, as long as I hit somebody and I get the cleave effect on everybody, I've pretty much done my job. Throwing things like Ghost Ship and Torrent afterwards, chasing people down with X marks the spot, are all very important as well. Now, one thing that I do want to touch on, if you're a little less confident with leveling up X marks the spot, so that meaning that you have to end X marks early to get a torrent combination off, you don't have to level it up. It's definitely not as good. If you are able and you are confident enough with X marks the spot and how to use it and how to hit torrent, then I would definitely say max the skill out. If you're not quite confident enough, then just go to town, get some stats. Stats are good. I'm going to throw boat and everything here. I thought they were man fighting me. I ended up just manning back and going back into the middle of the fight. The Nature's Prophet actually runs into the back of me here, and I am going to get picked off probably. I'm eventually killed by that, but you can see just how I was able to force everybody off and basically just run directly in. They went on me a little bit here. I just threw boat and just ran all the way up here, started fighting, and did a lot of damage. Did about half health to 2 or 3 people. So that's kind of the strengths of Kunkka. If you man up and go very, very aggressive, he kind of stems from that. I mean, Ghost Ship works very, very well aggressively. Obviously Tidebringer and Torrent do as well, but you have to have a measured level of aggression. If you overdo it and you overextend, you'll very, very quickly die, as I did in that situation. Although that was more to do with the fact that they focused me. And that guy is now leveled up to level 5 Dagon because he's a dick. Now that's the only way it can be put, guys. He's a douchebag.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Very, very annoying. 15-second cooldown, only 100 mana to do 800 burst damage. It's insane. Burst magic damage. Also gives him plus 21 intelligence, plus 3 to all attributes, and plus 9 damage, so makes him hit a little bit harder. Not very much though. Now, after you've got your shadowblade and your battlefury, or if you want to skip battlefury, your you can go for crit. Now, the reason I'm not so much a fan of crit on Kunkka is because it basically means that you have to hit tidebringer. Okay, so that's not super hard, but it only comes up once every 4 seconds. You will auto attack a lot more between that, and at the same time as that, hit a 25% chance to crit. Now obviously if you do crit, you'll do 250% of your normal damage, so you do a very, very high damage amount, cleave everybody in the enemy team, probably win the team fight for your team. But I believe the percentage chance to actually do that on a tidebringer, depending on your attack speed, is somewhere less than sort of 10%. So it's really, really, like, you'll do huge damage when it happens, but are there going to be 10 team fights in which you can sort of be certain that that's, like, is it worth having a guaranteed that one of those team fights is going to go guaranteed well for you, and then the other 9 not so much? Like, it's not going to go so fantastic. And I mean, this is another problem for their team actually. Their Rubik went for a Bloodstone. That's terrible. The thing with Rubik is obviously he does very, very well with items. He scales brilliantly with items, but he also doesn't need them. He scales just as well with no items at all, or just a couple of items. And certainly things like Bloodstone really aren't necessary when you could have things like Force Staff and Blink Dagger that give him enough mana to survive. Well, Blink Dagger doesn't, but things like Force Staff gives you enough mana to survive. Now I TP into this fight, immediately throw off my ultimate. I don't actually manage to hit anybody with it. They trap me in with the trees here. I'm going to try to start right-clicking, trying to do as much damage as I can. Everybody needs to kind of be supporting me here, but it's not exactly happening. They do try and keep some of the damage off me by disrupting me there, so that's really good. And then we turn around that fight basically from that point onwards. As well as that, I was also, and then I chase after that guy and guarantee the kill on him. So again, Crystallis into full crit, full Daedalus crit isn't, it's not very reliable. I wouldn't always advise it. I would say stacking Battle Furies, just getting more and more Battle Furies, just meaning that when you do hit that, it guarantees that you'll do damage. You're not going to do quite as much damage with a crit, but you're still going to do damage. It's very much worth it. And that was a bad disruption. Oh well. Juggernaut's now picked up an Aghanim Scepter, so it's going to hit crazy hard, and they stole my boat, and I was screaming at everybody, he stole boat, oh fuck, because Ghost Ship is honestly really, really strong. It's what turns Kunkka from an okay hero to an absolutely fantastic teamfight hero. And now we're going to pick up Roshan for the Juggernaut, because we killed off a few of them, but we didn't believe that we had enough people on their team dead, as well as everything off cooldown, to actually take the high ground. So you shouldn't always be overconfident. Whenever you take a tier 2, guys, it's very, very common in lower or mid-skill pub games to take a tier 2, and then your team thinks, oh, we took a tier 2, we won a fight, and then we took a tier 2. We can win the game now, and run up onto the high ground and get slaughtered. And then the game suddenly isn't in their favour again, and they'll probably lose a tier 2 or a tier 3 as well. And it's very, very silly. Whenever you take a tier 2, you can back off, you can farm all the lanes at the same time. That's a little thing that you can do. You can also simply... I'm trying to fight this anti-mage here, this is insane. Really going ham on this anti-mage, but I did manage to push him out of the fight, and now everybody is chasing after me, and I'm really, really worried. I think I'm probably going to die here. Do get hit by my own ultimate, which kind of sucks. And I was hoping that I could survive just a little bit longer. I would probably got the anti-mage, but it doesn't matter at this point. The anti-mage is pretty much a non-factor. He's not managed to farm fast enough at all. It's absolutely miles from where he needs to be farm-wise. And Juggernaut's now going to go ham on them, as well as with a big Dark Seal all over the top. They're going to pick off some nice little kills here, probably. I hope so. Dark Seal's actually gone for a sheep stick, which is a really nice pickup from him. And now this is the point where the Juggernaut starts hitting really, really hard this game. He picks up an ultra kill basically from that fight, and he's now gone from basically he was like 6, 6 and 8 or something to going 17, 7 and 8. So real big turnaround for him, and I mean the same goes for me. I was really far ahead, and then I died sort of like 3 or 4 times in a row, and not as far ahead now. I also have the most last hits on the board, which I guess just speaks that I'm probably slightly better than the rest of these players. Not a huge amount. I definitely did really well this game though. So yeah, if you're newer or you want basically more reliable damage, it doesn't actually matter if you're new or not. If you want more reliable damage, go Battle Fury, guys. Just and pick up more Battle Furies, because they're quite cost effective damage. They're not like hugely cost effective, they're not hugely inefficient, they're quite cost effective. You'll hit everybody in an AoE around you for extra damage, even more than you already did do. It means that your basic right clicks will do some normal cleave as well, only 35%, but still a fair amount. And picking up a crit just really isn't cost effective, and it's really unreliable, and I wouldn't advise it. I did pick up this game because, well, I was thinking I was pretty damn far ahead, to be honest. And basically, Kunkka used to be known for shadowblading in with a crit and then hitting the entire enemy team, hopefully, not always, but hopefully quite often, just deleting the enemy team there and then. And I came in for that kill there. Did I hit the torrent or not? I don't know. I wasn't really looking. But I came in for that kill there, and I didn't realise we were still fighting, so I went to go farm. But you can see just how much damage I do when I get those crits. I think I'd hit 2 crits or 1 hit crit and then a not crit, but I hit really hard at this point in the game. Almost, yeah, about 300 damage with a Crystallis Battlefury Shadowblade. So, and remember, I can Shadowblade in and then hit everybody with a cleaving hit. So it's also a bonus 60 damage, so I'm doing like 360 damage over the entire enemy team. It's really hard, it's really nice. I'm actually doing more than that, because if I Shadowblade and then do it, I'll hit more like sort of 500-600 damage. And this is pretty much a sort of build that I would advise on Kunkka. Like I said, if you want more reliable damage, I would advise stacking Battle Furies rather than picking up Demon Edge and Crystallis, because basically it's so unlikely to actually do anything for you. When it does do something for you, it's fantastic, but most of the time it will proc when you just hit a normal guy once without the cleave, and that'll mean that the item is kind of wasted, because the point with crit on a lot of heroes is to have very good attack speed, so that when you crit more often, like say on Juggernaut, he has a passive crit and he also has very good attack speed. And that guy has pulled me in. He's not learnt his lesson this game. I am hitting him pretty hard. And that is one of my cleaving crits there. I picked up a double kill from that. I also finished off my Daedalus. So Daedalus gives me plus 81 damage and a 25% chance to do 240% damage crit, which I can't be bothered doing the math, but I'll basically be hitting for a ridiculous amount. Well over twice, between twice and 3 times my damage now. I could crit onto the entire enemy team with a Battle Fury and basically just destroy everybody. And that guy says, good job, Prophet, because like the Prophet's build was very strange, and at this point we've pretty much won the game, and I'm just trying to go in to finish the game, because they all want a fountain camp, but it's honestly not worth it, guys. Just when you win a game, just don't go into fountain camp, please. I know it's really easy to do, and like obviously it's kind of fun to do, but it also kind of ruins the spirit of things for other people. So if you want to assert your dominance, kill the enemy base. Don't stand inside their fountain throwing. I mean, I say throwing. If you can stand inside their fountain, you can win pretty much. I am going to try and go for these kills though, because it's just so tempting. Pick up a Basher as well. I think Basher is actually kind of an interesting item choice on Kunkka. I was basically just looking though for any fairly cost-effective damage item I could pick up with without worrying about how much I was going to take about going to the secret shop or anything. So I do pick up a mega kill streak in that. I go 17-5-17 in this game. That's pretty much GG. You can watch the fountain camping if you like. But that's pretty much how to play Kunkka. You know, dominate your lane using the cleave hit, and then set up kills as well. Gank effectively. Get yourself rune control. It's very easy to get yourself rune control on Kunkka because of the cleave effect as well. I really like him as a solo mid, guys. It's very, very easy to pick him up and think, oh, I'll just play a carry hero because he's a carry hero. He's really not. He's much more of an AoE type sort of mid-game carry. That's definitely when he's best anyway. So, thanks for watching. GG. This game is obviously over. We've obviously won. Yeah, you can tell that. Okay. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. And GG. I said that already. God, I'm going crazy like an old person.